Alright guys, we're here tonight with your new Saturday night champion, GSRMagic. Why don't you say hello?
What's up?
Alright, so first question is always the same. Why'd you pick Laval Artifact to play?
To be honest, because the deck is fun and nobody can decide against it right now.
Well, that's a good enough reason. So the other big question that I think is kind of generic and easy to ask is why 42 cards in a deck that is so centered around specific combos?
Well, I find myself to where there's cards I want to take out, but when I take them out, there's times where I need them. So there's the extra two cards doesn't really affect how the deck plays.
And to be fair, there is that kind of a trend right now where people are trying to get away with running excessive deck numbers now.
Yeah, you know that this might be a little bit off topic, but you know that TCG Player Series thing that's going on right now in Indianapolis?
Yeah,
Jeff Jones is running a 50 card shit all deck. So
there you go. All right, so one of Fresh's first questions, and when I look at the deck list, it becomes a question of my own. Why wiretap over trap stun for Laval?
Um, just because like the deck has some OTKs, but it's not based around it, and wiretap, it'll I can stop the other counter traps that happen to be going, such as Satellar Knight Nova, um, Solemn, etc.
Okay. Well, I can't remember if our global moderator is a big proponent of Laval, like she loves the deck. And if she, I bet she probably wishes it still had 3 rekindlings so she could play it more. But I remember if I'm not misremembering, her last comment or deck thread where she kind of explained why she was playing Laval, she spoke about, um, and let me know if I'm wrong, Fresh, but I think she said something about like the deck wasn't so concerned with the OTK anymore. Like Blaster did a lot of work for her, and so like maybe that is a little validation for wiretap over trap stun.
Yeah, that's actually exactly it.
Okay. So how did Mischief of the Yokai play over the tournament? Or like was it a factor? Did you actually side it in?
Yeah, I sided it in against a couple of my match, like two of my matches. Um, the fact that I can stop their synchros and XYZs is great, but also their graveyard effect. Like if I have a blaster out, I can reduce blaster's level or any other monster that I control's level to get the correct synchro or XYZ for the situation.
Oh, very interesting. Level modulation in your own deck. That's pretty neat. Um, so I think we're finished with the main deck. Um, I really don't see anything that stands out as like a big question to be asked. It all looks like pretty standard when you combine the two ideas, Laval and Artifact. So we're just gonna move straight to the side deck now. And the first question there from Fresh would be, did Scythe ever resolve, and did you ever wish you had cited multiple copies instead of the lone copy?
In this particular tournament, no. I'm actually on a debate whether to play two Beagle Tatch or one Beagle Tatch and one Scythe. Because I like Scythe in the Shadal matchup, just because it's a bigger body than Moral Attack, so I can crash into window with it. And then also, if they play Fusion, if I get Scythe out in a Chain Link, Scythe would stop their Fusion summoning.
Okay. What about the Raigeki? Fresh wants to know how you feel about Raigeki.
I don't like that. I actually didn't like that card in this deck at all.
Okay. So before we move to the extra deck, how about you just talk to us about the deck, or maybe like a specific card from the main deck, a specific card from the side deck, like cards that stood out for you over the night.
Hands down, like one of the best cards in the deck is Molten Conduction Field. Like I said, like I was saying, that's my personal like favorite card of the entire deck. Um, just if I open with it turn one, my graveyard's already set and ready to go, and I can start clearing back row, and then that just helps if I open up with a lava cannon. I mean, I can go anywhere from level 7 synchros, level 5 synchros, and start wiping out back row.
For sure, it's definitely one of the best
So I
cards
think that's
level
why I do
has to
that.
facilitate.
Then I gotta give an MVP to Mind Control too, because that card's also really clutch.
Oh yeah. All right.
When you have like a dead Volcano Handmaiden in hand, steal your opponent's monster and go into whatever synchro you can.
All right. Well, let's move to the extra deck now. Um, and pre-interview, we were talking to you about Hot Red Dragon, about how it's not necessarily a meta choice, but how maybe in an event like this or like of a value of like a local tournament, it may make sense. And you seem to really like the card. So why don't you just talk to us about Hot Red Dragon Arcfiend real quick?
Well, I just like what the card does. It's a big body at 3,000 attack. Um, and the fact is, if your opponent's got a big board, then you could have the potential to wipe it clear out and still swing 3K direct.
For sure. All right. Well, the only question I have in regards to choices over other potential choices, not including Hot Red Dragon, would be 101 over Castell. I'm not understanding that, and I would like to hear you explain that for me.
101 over Castell just because 101's got that, it can save itself from destruction effect. So, I mean, it can buy me an extra turn and still take the monster. I
Okay.
mean, it still removes a monster or some kind of threat, or I can stall with it until I draw a combo piece.
But you weren't nervous about the fact that Castell is removal for more than just monsters?
And no, not really, because I got any removal I need, any face up removal with moral attack. So, for example, like if I played against a Shadal player, I'd want 101 over Castell just because I could still take the monster and then I still have material to where he's not going to die next turn. I mean, moral attack can pretty much handle any other face up card.
Okay, so this can be the final thought on the deck actually before we move on. Uh, as I'm sitting here talking about what Castell could potentially offer the deck, I noticed that there's no MSTs whatsoever. None in the main, none in the side. I understand you have the ignition, but it's still like a general idea that when you're playing artifact or artifact based deck, you're still going to see MSTs in the side. But you obviously felt comfortable with zero MSTs available.
Yeah, like you were saying, I got the three ignitions. I'm also playing a double cyclone, and then Laval Lakeside Lady does work on its own too, popping set cards.
Okay, that actually probably made the.
So I pretty much have.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that all those little utility removal cards that you have in the deck, I guess maybe made it easier um, to fit in other cards because you're not using a default 3 spots for MST.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is.
Okay, dope. So how about you tell us your most difficult matchup of the night?
The only matchup I was actually iffy going into was the Burning Abyss matchup because with this particular deck, before tonight, that is the only matchup I haven't got to test in the deck was against Burning Abyss.
Okay. What was the game like?
I mean, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, especially going into the side. Um, I mean, if you have Leo with a Shadow Prison you're on board, I mean, you just extend handshake and it's pretty much over for the entire deck. I mean, the only way they can get over Leo is with a Giga Brilliant and an Acid Golem at the same time.
And that's not going to happen without effects.
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, I just got Leo out on him on the Burning Abyss player in like the second turn, and he just couldn't do anything against it. His Wing Blasts were dead, like Karma Cuts were dead.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how Leo can almost be a win condition versus them. You just never enter your battle phase or go to main phase 2, which I mean, not entering your battle phase, but like you can just sit there and they're just like, okay, I do nothing.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so let's finish this up with your final thoughts on the tournament, the deck, anything you want to say. The floor is yours.
Yeah, final thoughts on the deck are, I just put it together a few days ago, and I'm just really pleased with the results that I was getting with the deck. The only thing I think I would actually change is in the extra, is possibly dropping a Pallades because I never really found myself going into two.
What you would add in its place.
Not sure yet. Probably that Castell.
Okay, don't. All right, then. Well, we appreciate your time for the interview. We want to say thanks and congrats again.
Right, well, thank you, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
All right, guys. That was your champions interview, and we will see you again Tuesday. Later.